morning, and thanks for joining us here once again, Week 11. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Brandon Domain. Brandon, we're at Talladega Super Speedway here tonight, and this is a big race here this late in the season. Could be a game changer for some of these guys that are behind the cut line, looking to find that spot here in the playoffs, and it could be some ground making ups for these people inside the cut too, trying to distance themselves from the cut line, maybe seal their spot in the playoffs. A lot on the line here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that this schedule is kind of playing out for all three series, it feels like Week 11 or Week 12, kind of that wild card week before we get to the Week 13 regular season finale. It's Week 11 here in the Xfinity Series. They're going to be dealing with Talladega, probably the ultimate wild card of all these wild card races out here. This is going to shake up a points leaderboard that, I mean, we've seen some guys pull away, but they're still far from safe, especially coming here today.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at that points leaderboard, and it was shaken up quite a bit last week, and that's because we had a first-time winner, a rookie here, Jeffrey Radke, getting that win sticker next to his name. Still in the red there, 16, but only 3 points back of the cut line. He is making a heck of a push towards the playoffs, but still has some ground to cover and some tough names. You got Kyle Spees, Adrian Schumacher sitting right there on the cut line. Logan Joyner and Vincent Cortez both with some distance, but gonna need to turn the luck around, especially for that 23 who's found himself in some trouble here last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and if you're looking from Daniel Bowdler down to Logan Joyner, you're seeing 44 to 24 points clear of that cut line. However, the scary thing is you come to Talladega, it is very easy to lose all those points, and you can see a lot of guys that maybe don't typically run in the top five suddenly show up in contention for the winner at top five, and they can make a big point swing. So those guys outside of that top seven, far from safe coming in tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at these names. Corey Stahl has had a very good season. He's back here in 16th as well, 3 points back. Dalton McKinney's fallen back a little bit and now going to need to make up some ground. He can possibly do that here tonight at Talladega. And Josh Siegfried, we've seen him in the PBR Discord. He's getting hungry, wanting to be in the top 15. A lot of talent here sitting in red, and a lot of dangerous drivers for those drivers in the top 15.
Yeah, and a couple of things that I'm looking at right now, you mentioned Josh Siegfried. PVR had a great run in Atlanta in a very similar super speedway style race. But then I also look at those JW drivers. You got a Bo Tiffany, a Michael Larch. They're still within 40 points, trying to move their way up. Typically, that team very good at plate races like this one. This could be a huge opportunity for guys like that.
Let's go take a look at those team standings from last week. And Week 10 had some good matchups. JBR with the 11-point victory over Highline Racing. They're going to get a win. Look at that, though. Blackout Racing going head-to-head with JW and coming away with the tie. That's a big result, I think, for Blackout Racing. It says a lot about their progress here in the season. JW losing some ground here in this standings. We'll take a look at those in a second. Phoenix with a big win over Murray Reedy Motorsports, 105 to 39. And Tank Racing getting that bye now that we are down to 7 teams here in the Silverback Series, putting up 86 points. So a good week for them last week as well.
Yeah, obviously the thing that takes the attention there is that JW Blackout deal, and that was the second-ranked team against the seventh-ranked team out of 7 here, so that is a huge upset, and like you said, really shows the progress that Blackout has been making as of late, and now almost every team has a draw in their stat column at this point, which I don't think we ever expected to see multiple draws, let alone almost everybody have one, but yeah, I mean, right now there's going to be some big matchups this week because you're looking at those 3 through 5, and really you can throw Highline into this as well, all still within legitimate striking distance of not only being in that 3-4 matchup when we get to Week 18, but also maybe making a push to try to take out JW Racing. I think Tank might be a little clear at this point, but JW with that draw last week kind of pulling themselves back towards the pack.
Yeah, so you see how close it is when it comes to points here, so we'll see how it shapes up here down the line. And kind of looks like we're looking at hockey standings, almost like you said, with those draws here. But good matchups up and down the board here again. Week 11, Phoenix Virtual Racing going up against Highline Racing. Tank going up against Blackout. So Blackout looking to maybe make some noise again here against one of the higher-ranked teams in these Silverback Series standings. Murray Reedy Motorsports going up against JW. It's a good matchup, 5-4-1 and 7-2-1 teams there. JBR, going to go 5-5-1 this week with the bye. So they're going to look to make up some ground while everybody else is going to have to worry because, like we keep saying, Talladega, the ultimate wild card when it comes to how these things finish up.
Yeah, and this week I think the big matchup, and I don't think it's really much of a shock, that Murray-Reedy JW matchup. Two teams typically very, very strong when it comes to Talladega and Daytona, so they're going to be head-to-head at a critical point in this season. That's a very interesting matchup tonight.
Let's waste no more time and get on out there and see what we got as far as the starting lineup. There it is, the huge 2.5-mile oval track here in Talladega, and it is going to be a good one. Starting on the pole, though, Seth Reed in the 51 machine for JW Racing. They're going to have the front row with Jacob Manning, his teammate there in the 50, just 4 1,000ths of a second off his starting time. Nathan De La Rosa, Austin Reedy, that's going to be row number 2.
In row number 3, it's going to be Josh Susi out of JW Racing starting in 5th. Joshua Balliette starting in position number 6 for Tank Racing, so some heavy players in the point standings right there. Josh Marcy will be starting in 7th. Emerson Ardon joining in here in the Silverback Tax Series tonight. He'll be starting in position number 8.
Yeah, row 5, the lone Canadian Max Service in the field. He's starting 9th. Michael Larch, he's going to be row 10. Starting 10th outside row number 5. Cody Neal here in the field for Highline Racing. He's starting 11th here tonight. And Dalton McKinney, the guy right there on the cut line who we were mentioning, starting in 12th.
Take a look at the next page here while we got a moment. Everybody's still gritting up. We got Tyler Murray and Kyle Benson, both out of Murray-Reedy Motorsports. They'll be starting both in row number 7. The teammate right behind them in 15th with Craig Lautenslager, and Jackson Wade, running independent tonight, will be starting in 16th.
Justin Rideout and Chris Bishop, that's going to be row number 9 as the drivers start to pull off here. Jeff Radke, last week's winner, he's going to start 19th. And Adrian Schumacher will round out our top 20 starting order here this evening. So not the biggest field we've had here in the Xfinity Series to date here, but still a big field nonetheless. 33 drivers in the field here tonight. Brandon, let's waste no more time in surprising our guests here. We got a special guest here in the booth with us, Timothy Latham. He is going to be joining us. Let me just unmute him here in the Discord so he can join us here. Timothy, welcome. It's good to have you here in Talladega.
Thanks for having me. Second broadcast this year, both super speedway races. I love calling these things, so we get a good show tonight.
Absolutely. So let's waste no more time. Brandon, what do you say we give Timothy, put him on the spot, give him the first pick here tonight. Timothy, who you got?
Hey.
Oh, man. Last time I was in here, JW did a really good job at maintaining the front of the pack, so I'm just going to go with the low-hanging fruit here. I'm going to go with the pole sitter, Seth Reed. I think JW's got a good shot to win it, and I think the pole sitter's got the best shot to win it.
All right, so Seth Reed. Brandon, who you going with here tonight?
All right, so legitimately, I ran everybody's car number through a randomizer because it's Talladega, and you never know what's going to happen. And the randomizer came up with Tyler Murray, so I'm going to go with that 16 car starting in position 13 tonight.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and look down the line here and feel like who's got the best chance. I'm going back here with the one machine. Kyle Benson gets it done here. He always knows how to get that car up towards the front, but we're going to get this thing kicked off here as they're making their way around turn number 1. A very tough track and a very nerve-wracking track, Brandon. It's Timothy that we were talking about pre-race. It is a lot on the line here with the guys trying to make their way in, and you look down the list, who's sticking out to you that's in the back?
In the back, let's see here.
I mean, I know personally I see a Jonathan Byer there who's still in that points contention with the Bo Tiffany. I think those are two names you got to keep an eye out here tonight, trying to gain all those points they can.
I think I'm going to go with my buddy Cole Martin. He's got a good-looking hot rod out there in that number 10 as we go green here in the Silverback Tax Solutions Series. Off to a good start.
Absolutely. That Silverback Tax Solutions green flag out as they're barreling down. Oops, and I accidentally run the way. Got to turn that off. Barreling down towards turn 1 here as they are building up speed. Takes a little while to get these cars up to speed. You see right now the two teammates here trying to just maintain those 2 lanes here, which we've seen JW do pretty well at super speedways. Looking like they're going to try that strategy here starting off early.
And it's interesting too. I know we talk about that a lot at Daytona, where the track's a little bit more narrow. You get about 10 more feet, 8 more feet, something around there of width here at Talladega. Really opens up that third line. So this strategy that works amazingly well at Daytona, it is possible to break it up a little bit easier here at Talladega.
as they come
Yeah, and we have
around.
these guys out here. I'm sorry, you can go ahead.
No, man, go for it.
I was gonna say we got still got the JW guys up there on the front row. I wonder when they're gonna get lined up here and try to maintain the front of the pack. It looks like they're doing a good job side by side, but you know, as a team, you wanna get all your guys up there and get all lined up. So I wonder when they're gonna try to move to the front.
So far, a big push there on the outside lane. Austin Reedy giving the 50 a shove. Valiette right behind him in the outside. That's the 7 machine right there, and his teammate Emerson Ardon. So Tank Racing working towards the front. We've seen them do really well in these races as well. So Max Service back there in 10th too. Emerson Ardon running as an independent here tonight. You see him running usually in the Cup Series, so he's going to be trying to help his teammates for sure.
Yeah, it's basically going to be 6 tank cars out there tonight with the way that they're running Emerson out there. Technically an independent. He's not going to be able to use the Discord channel though. That's kind of getting cut off on the amount of drivers you can have. You can only have 5, so that's going to be a communication point that they won't necessarily have with each other. But obviously Emerson's still going to be trying to run as best as he can with who he knows the best.
Good experience. I know these tank guys are really hungry, and at super speedways especially, they are always trying to march to the front, and it looks like they're doing a good job getting there now. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the next few laps here.
It's always curious to see what strategy everybody decides to run, and right now, looking like everybody's opting is try and stay with this main pack. You see it too wide for about 12, 13 rows deep, and then really only about 4 or 5 sitting further on back from the pack here. Got to be careful not to lose it because these guys can pull away in a hurry. You see the 48 there. That's Lucas Lyons, who's got he's got a big gap between him and that car right in front of him. Can't see who it is at the moment.
Yeah, he's going to have a little protection at least, though, because he does still have Cole Martin and Logan Joyner up there on the outside. So if necessary, he can kind of slide back up there and at least maintain the draft like that. But he's still close enough. He'll be getting a pretty good pull here. The thing that I'm kind of watching is the way that the fuel mileage is working here. You're only looking at about 32 laps or so that these guys are going to be able to really kind of stretch this thing. I think that's why we're seeing some guys not really pushing to make this 3 wide. They're seeing Manning and Reed out in front and saying, all right, y'all just punch the hole in that air and take up all of that gas mileage right now and put yourselves in a bad spot. We'll conserve at this point.
It's a good strategy, you know. I tend to hang back on super speedways as well, just to save some fuel, and it works out a lot of the time. But you know, you do run that risk of getting involved in an accident. If you're at the back of the pack, you have more of a chance of hitting the car in front of you than you are at the front.
You can see how big the shoves are from the 96. He got the 50 pretty loose there, just going down the backstretch, which you see often in all 3 series here at Talladega, just carrying the speed, and these cars right on your bumper, just taking that drag off the rear spoiler can lighten these cars up in a hurry. And with how small the downforce, or excuse me, the spoilers typically are on these Xfinity cars, it's already a handful, and you saw it firsthand right there. So the 96 trying to figure out where he can shove this 50, and that's kind of a learning process that takes a few laps.
It certainly does, and I think with these Xfinity cars, I think it's kind of the most natural feeling when it comes to pushing people at this point. The trucks kind of got that aero update with the new designs on them. The Cup cars, just with the next gen, I think people are starting to figure it out a little bit more, but it's different than what we got used to. But I think with these Xfinity cars, it's kind of a more natural feel, and I think these guys are going to be pretty comfortable with it, but there is still trying to read how other people like to be pushed or how other people like to push, as we see that third line starting to open up with a couple of PBR guys.
Yeah, so
you guys getting antsy there.
Yeah, that's
sure.
The 6 of Bowler and the 60 of Josh Siegfried. Both working well here tonight, and they are surging to the front. The 87 of Chad Wampler trying to catch up and go with them here. He's still getting a pretty big toe there on the outside. Nobody opting to go up there. We talked about it pre-race. You kind of just got to go for it sometimes. It's a wide track here at Talladega, a lot of racing surface, and they're using it, which it's there for that.
Yeah, with these Xfinity cars, it's a lot easier to get a third line going than it is with the Cup cars and all that side draft. You know, these cars don't have as much downforce, so you know, once that third line gets started on the outside, they have a really good ability to get a good run off the corner and get a good run down the straightaway. And you see now the 6, Bowler, way out in the lead right now.
It's kind of interesting, too, once you see that third line open up and how powerful it gets. They might not even need as many cars as the inside or the middle line because, A, they're keeping the momentum a little bit higher, but also just the way that I kind of feel it at times, there's just less congestion up there on the top. People aren't really kind of trying to read where they're pushing as much. You get fewer cars up there, but it's normally cars that run together more often. Normally a team will go up there, and it just seems like they get so much more of a powerful push on that high line.
Well, kind of fizzled out there. Now it's a 3-wide drag race down the back straightaway. You got Seth Reed there on the inside lane, pushed by Nathan De La Rosa. Jacob Manning, his teammate there in the middle, he's been pushed by Austin Reedy this whole race. And Bowdler starting to lose a little bit of steam here as everybody tightens up their gaps and really starts pushing here. Like I said, probably just riding for a little bit there, but Bowdler didn't want any of it. He's trying to make up some ground here and trying to solidify that spot here in the playoffs tonight. And it's kind of best. Some people just want to get up to the front, feeling it's safer up here. Plus, it always feels safer when you're racing like this.
Nah, I mean, you kind of look at it, and we talked about how you can sit in the back and try to avoid the carnage that's well up in front of you, but easiest place to avoid trouble is when the trouble's behind you, and that's when you're running up in front. It's not foolproof. You can still get turned running up in front. I learned that here in the duels this season, but it's one of those things, like, there's a lot less of a chance that something could go wrong. Oh, we got somebody that brushed up against the wall. I think that was the 60, Josh Siegfried.
Yeah, these guys are still 3 wide. I'm surprised that they're, hanging on. You got 5-6 rows deep there. They're going 3 wide, and we'll see how this plays out. But if they can keep it like this the whole time, I don't know if any of those guys up there are thinking about fuel mileage. But once we get to that around lap 30, I think some of these guys might think about it.
Well, already completed 9 laps here tonight, starting with lap number 10, and man, it's heating up quickly. That outside lane falling back, the race back in sole possession of the 51. It's still side by side with the 50. Jacob Manning here, your top 5 currently: Reed, Manning, De La Rosa, Reedy, and Susie. But I'm not counting out that outside lane. Still 4 cars out there. We'll see if anybody else feels like going on out there.
It seems like that outside line, they're stronger in the straightaways, but they're losing some speed in the turns, and it looks like they're really breaking up apart quite a bit there from Siegfried to Wampler, and then Wampler back to Lautenschlager. I think Lautenschlager actually thinking that he wants to drop down because he's starting to really back up here. Maybe kind of go back to that middle line. But I think they just kind of broke up enough in the turns, especially into the entry, that I think they're just losing too much power on that high line.
Yeah, the pros about the high line, if you get a run on these people, you're in the draft, you can get a huge run and get up there to the front, but slightest little bit of breakup, and you start falling back because you don't have a lot of speed up top in the corners.
Speaking of speed, here they come back again. Daniel Bowdler back out in front of this thing with a huge push there from the 60 and the 87. Now the 16, Austin Reedy, decides to get up there, thinks better of it, but that's Kyle Benson in the 1 coming now for the 4th car on the outside lane. Knew it wouldn't be long before he decided to get up here and mix it up. This is fun if you're out there hearing these cars tonight.
Yeah, this is fun to watch, and it's fun if you're that front car, but if you're the 2nd, 3rd, 4th car in those rows, it's a little terrifying right now, seeing that these guys are going this aggressive 3 wide this early in the race. We're only a 5th of the way through this thing, and we've been running 3 wide, 3 by 3 by 3 for quite some time here, about 4 or 5 laps now, and these guys don't look like they're ready to give any.
Yeah, they look like they're hungry and ready to go to the front. You still got quite a few cars trying that outside lane, and I don't think they're going to be satisfied until they get all of them past the bottom 2 rows. So, but they keep surging up, falling back, surging up, falling back. That's just a product of the outside line, and they're falling back now. They'll get a run in a few minutes and get back up there to the front, and we're going to stay 3 wide for a while unless there's a wreck.
Yeah, so we'll see if they get any more takers there on the outside. We've got Justin Rideout back here in the 55. He's trying his hand here again this week in the Silverback series. That's where he kind of Bobby Hamilton looking throwback. So we'll see if he decides to go up there, mix it up, maybe get up there with his JW boys that he's probably running with here tonight, or if he just opts to run back there for a while. Then you got a few guys just playing it safe. I mean, you got Max Service. He's sitting back there, 5th car inside line, and he's all the way back in 13th. So he's just hanging out, and I feel like that's kind of the safest place you can be. Both of you can speak on this, and I can too as a super speedway driver. It's just easier to avoid wrecks that happen as opposed to being the high side. Yeah, you can see more in the high lane, but you're not getting out of that if it happens right in front of you. So you see a lot more of the guys running that inside lane most of the time in this race.
And I always like to tell people, if I have the choice, I want to be on the inside. Now, sometimes, momentum or just where you're running and the flow of the race kind of dictates otherwise, but I would like to be on the inside because you got options. If something breaks loose in front of you and you're on that high line, you're either going into the pack or you're going into the wall. If you're on that inside line, you at least got the apron. You got a little bit of an escape route to give you some hope.
Yeah, that's one good thing about the inside. I do like running the inside myself. You can run that apron if you need to get away from a wreck, or you can go up high. Only downfall is in the turns, when a car goes up to the wall, they're going to slide back down. But it's mostly avoidable if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just safer to run, but it's just more advantageous to run that high line. Particularly, I think, where Daniel Bowdler he's mostly safe. But yeah, all it takes is one time. You get right up on the bumper, can't see going in the turns. You miss your turn, run high a little bit, and send everybody up there. It's just nowhere safe as on this track at all. But it's still safest to be down there, and I think that's why you see a lot of the guys still huddling down there for the time being. But they're gonna get up there on that high line before too long, and it's not going anywhere right now. Bowdler getting pushed right back to the front.
I tell you what, I keep watching that high line, and I keep thinking that 16 car of Tyler Murray might be a difference maker there. You got his teammate right above him on the outside, Kyle Benson. I think you get a couple pairs of teammates up there, and they're going to kind of force, and Chad Wampler by himself in a Discord or in a general Discord at this point, because he's running independent here. It's kind of one of those things, if you get two pairs of teammates, might kind of force him to keep that line a little bit tighter, because they're going to be pushing him around, and that's going to be a thing that'll give that line a little bit more power in there.
You can see here the top line's falling back a little bit. I've got no doubt in my mind that they'll surge right back to the front here. But as of right now, we got Nathan De La Rosa. He made his way up to the first spot in that middle row. He's up from, I think he started on the inside, the second car on the inside there. So did a good job getting to the front.
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say,
go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was just going to say, he was somebody that we were keeping a heavy eye on last week because he had such a strong run. And that run, we talked about it a lot over the course of this week about the number of restart violations that came up at Charlotte last week. And Nathan, unfortunately, was one of those drivers that got affected by it, lost the points for that great finish that he had. Oh, we got a big move to the outside line with Tyler Murray. But what that did, though, is put Nathan in a really tough spot. He was going to be flirting with that cut line, now sitting 36 points back because of that penalty, as you see it there on the right side of the screen. So he's got to go for broke here in this race to try to make up as much ground as he can.
Big move there by Manning. Jumps to the outside. He wants to get up there. Gets the big push from the 96. Him and the 96 working really well together, so why not go up there? He's up there with his teammate as well, Austin Reedy and Tyler Murray, trying their way to the front, bringing Kyle Benson with them. So almost a Murray-Reedy Motorsports train up there on the outside. Jacob Manning sees what's going on. But Nathan De La Rosa and Seth Reed side by side as they come back to the stripe.
See him getting a little spicy up there, making moves, getting up to the top. Oh, man. Almost got pinched into the wall there. These guys are getting crazy here.
If you want to know how guys are feeling about this pack, look how much it's broken up since it was about a lap or two ago. We're starting to see these guys starting to put a little bit more gap. We saw the 6 and the 60 drop back. I think they were thinking, this is starting to get a little too chaotic up here. Maybe we just drop back. Something's about to break loose.
Not a bad call. That is getting wild up towards the front. Still 3 wide for about 8 rows, 6 or 7, 8 rows. I can't count them. That's how many cars are mixing it up right here. It's about 15 cars on your screen going side by side by side, completing lap 18 and doing a great job of it. Brandon kind of choked with you after, a rough start to last week's race at Charlotte, we'll call it. I was like, watch, these boys will go green the whole way, and that is what they're doing here tonight, putting on a great show.
You know what you just did, though,
no,
by bringing that up.
Nope, they're going to do it.
I know what he did. I know exactly what he did.
Yeah, and if any of the drivers are happening to listen to us right now, they're sitting there just going, no, don't bring that up.
They should not be listening, right, Timothy? Right?
Yeah, they should be listening to their spotters and their crew chiefs and, whatever help they have. But, there are some people that do keep the race on in the background. So, there's a lot of guys that are still up there, battling 3 wide. You got some guys that have dropped back and, they're laying off the pack. I would probably be doing that, honestly. These guys are getting pretty chaotic up here, and it's only a matter of time before something happens.
And also, you're thinking that we're about 10 laps away from pit stops happening here too at the end of this fuel run. So if you're kind of dropped back, you're still hanging with this group. You're probably going to have a little bit less difficulty trying to get down into pit road once you get single file. There's going to be some more scattering as these guys start dropping down, especially with them still running 3 wide. So I think they're kind of sitting there thinking, you know what, the reward isn't really worth the risk right now of being aggressive and trying to push forward. For those guys that drop back, then we got this group of about 15 cars all saying, you know what, let's go for it. We'll get out in front and make it work.
Oh, it looks fun, that's for sure. And I feel like they just keep playing musical chairs there on the outside lane, led by Joshua Balliet now. But where did Josh Marcy come from? He's now leading that middle lane, being pushed by his teammate Nathan De La Rosa. So just teammates all over the place here. And yeah, it's been fun here. We were wondering if a team could get up front and kind of dominate this thing. We've yet to see that, but Susie almost clear of that 35.
Yeah, I mean, there's people swapping lanes the whole time. The only constant that we have, Seth Reed, is still in the lead here on the bottom. I think he's the only one out of that top group that hasn't moved yet.
And really, I mean, he's still got Susie, he's still got Service pushing him right now. I think if Max Service sees that there's an opening to get to that high line, he might, right on cue. I was thinking he's got Joshua Balliet sitting there up in that high line, and that high line's starting to fall apart, though. So Max might just be kind of content sitting there in the middle and see if the tank guys can kind of reform that high line. But either way, he's in a pretty good spot now.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that high line come back in a hurry. We thought it was dead once, and it came right back. So not counting them out. They know they have a chance to connect up there with another tank racing driver. And look, I feel like Balliet gets another good run here. And they will be up here at no time. Might be contending for this lead before too long.
Yeah, we'll see. We got that outside line surgeon. Oh, making moves here. We got that outside line surgeon again.
Ooh,
gonna leave Max Service out to dry. Ooh.
Man, they caught Max leaping on that one. I think he was waiting for Balliet to get a little bit closer, and those 2 JBR cars saw that move coming, and they cut him off right at the point, and Max did not get enough time to react before he had that car right on his right rear.
Wow, some really intense racing here early on, but they're getting it done. I think that's just a product of a very wide racetrack here in Talladega. Unlike at Daytona, about what, 10 feet wider, if I'm correct? It's a substantial amount.
It's a good bit. I mean, in Daytona, you feel like 3 wide. You're kind of running out of space at that point. You can make it work, obviously, but it gets tight. Here, 3 wide, you're sitting there thinking we could probably fit a 4th in there if we really wanted to. We'll probably see that in about 35 laps from now.
Yeah, we'll give it 5 to go. We'll see someone try to take it 4 wide up there for sure.
If you guys are liking what you're seeing out there, make sure you hit that like button and then subscribe to the channel so you know exactly when we go live again here next week. Some great races across the board as we get closer to the playoffs here in season 4. And it feels like we just started not too long ago, and just like that, Timothy Latham going to be defending that cup crown here. Brandon trying to take it, guys. I'm starting some drama up here in the booth.
Hey, I'm as shocked as anybody that I'm even in the running for a playoff spot right now. Definitely not at all surprised to see Tim having as good of a run as he is, but I'll be honest, I don't see myself really taking any crown anytime soon. So at least from me, Tim, you'll be very, very safe.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some disappointing runs over the last few weeks. I had my internet issues last week, this week, and thankfully got into the top 10. And then the week before at Indy Road Course, just I disconnected due to the same issues, and just have had bad runs. But hopefully we can get back in it and get a level ahead and get ready for the playoffs here. I think we're almost a lock. I know we're about 7th in points, so not really a lock just yet, but I think we'll make it, and hopefully I can defend the championship and maybe get another one.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to calling all the action. I had Sean step in for me last week. I had to work, but still both y'all having a great season. Looking to see how it unfolds. You know, tough field there over in the Butt Kicker Cup Series, but a tough field here tonight. Putting on a great show, and it says a lot about Seth Reed and how he just runs super speedways. He has led every lap, I believe, so far, if not most of them for sure. But right now, Max Service getting another good push there by kind of a tank satellite driver, we'll say here tonight, Emerson Ardon right there in the 57 giving him that shove.
And a moment ago, you mentioned Seth Reed and how tough he's been. I say give a lot of credit, not to take anything away from Seth, give a lot of credit to Josh Soucy, though, who's kind of been his right-hand man this entire time. I don't think he's left that back bumper of the 51 since the very start of this race. He has just been pushing him the entire way through, and if you keep that kind of consistency, it just makes it so much easier as the lead driver. You're not having to change, not having to really kind of pay more attention in that mirror about what's going on. You just know what's about to happen, who's pushing you, and they're doing a great job as a tandem.
Well, everybody better pay
Michael
attention.
Larch.
Yeah.
Having a pretty good run here up the middle. Looks like he might lead this lap, actually.
That is 4 JW drivers in the top 4, and that is something we pointed out. Could they do it here tonight? And so far, they are controlling those first 2 rows. Do they go up and try and control that 3rd lane? That's asking a lot here. Right now, Michael Larch surging out to the front.
I think if we weren't 3 laps or so away from pit stops, I think they might try that 3-wide deal. But I think this close, they're going to be saying, let's get down to the bottom like they just did, make it a little bit easier here, set up that pit stop coming in probably about 2 or 3 laps.
Smartest thing you could do is get lined up as a team there on the bottom when it's coming to pit stops. So, you know, hopefully they can have a good clean pit stop here, not make any mistakes, come out and stay in that group and continue their domination here.
Yeah, they'll have the 55 as well. You see Justin Rideout a few cars back in that square D, those green wheels on that 55 machine. He's going to be coming down with them more than likely as well. So that'll give them a 5-car pack to come out of the pits with. And that is a very serious weapon to come out of the pits with, because you're going to be right back up to speed a lot quicker than these other guys that are coming down too. Whether it's the same lap or not, you're just going to get up to speed a lot quicker, and that is going to be very advantageous. So we'll see if they're able to perfect their pit stop here in a lap or so. Yeah, but great run here by all these guys tonight. You see those guys on the high line trying to figure a spot out to get down low.
And the one leading that line, actually, this is kind of a big story right now, is Adrian Schumacher. He's 14th in the point standings, not far ahead of that cut line, but keep in mind the first playoff race is the Lucky Dog race. Whoever is not in that top 15 out of eligible drivers, if they finish first out of that group, they get that 16th playoff spot. It's at a road course. It's at the Roval. The last person you want in there that's trying to go for that Lucky Dog, if you're an Xfinity driver, is Adrian Schumacher. He's sitting here in a great position to possibly point his way into the playoffs, and that could open up a huge opportunity for somebody at the Roval.
I know from experience from the Cup Series, he is very, very good at these road courses. He usually wins these races. So, yeah, that you're right. That is not someone that you want to go up against at a road course.
Right now, he is looking good as he's getting a big show from Joshua Balliet. That's Josh Marcy, 3rd car on the outside. And right there, we're going to see pit stops. Just the JW cars, it looks like here.
And they kind of, oh, hello, that was a close moment there. And then I think they kind of had to come down together this early because Seth Reed leading that line the entire first 29 laps, or really 28 of the first 29 laps. He kind of committed himself to have to pit a little bit earlier than everybody else. And I think the rest of the team realized they had to follow suit just to keep up in a draft.
Saw some lock up there. You know, you wonder if they might have sped on pit road. We'll see what happens when these pit stops are through.
It's kind of wild to look at my scoreboard right now because it's just all big blocks of color. I have it all team color coordinated here. And we just got teammates linked up everywhere. You got the tank drivers here. Adrian Schumacher, Balliet, Max Service, 1st, 2nd, 4th, along with Emerson Ardon. They're going to come down
big pack
here this time.
There we go.
And then you got Murray Reedy Motorsports. They're all together, and they're going to go out to the front along with Justin Rideout. So a lot of guys coming down right here. Ooh, Daniel Bowler on the grass. He's gonna get, that's tough to get back. Slippery out there.
Yeah, that might be an unsafe pit exit right there.
Yeah, that's going to be close if he gets a penalty on that. Still had 2 tires, it looked like, on pit road, so that's going to be a close one there for iRacing. Not too sure how that's going to get sorted out, but either way, that was a huge group that, aside from Bowdler, super clean in the pit road. You don't see that too often with a group that large.
So now you got Murray Reedy Motorsports leading the way along with Justin Rideout in the 55. Likely going to see these guys come down now that we are past the halfway point in this race. Just want to give Chris Bishop a shout out. He's had a great race here all night in that 42 machine. As you see these guys really woe it up here. You see it going through the gears. Austin Reedy barely saves it there.
Ooh, little lock up there and a tire in the grass. I think that was a lot closer to being in pit road than out. So
Corey Stahl.
33 of Corey Stahl hard into the wall right there. Guessing he got turned by another driver.
It's
gonna be
so
quite a bit of
easy to
damage
have
on the
that
nose.
happen. So easy to have that happen here. You get so fixated on where your pit box is, and honestly, if they're in that concrete, you can normally kind of get that cheat and go through them. But that contact probably started while they were kind of merging into the concrete portion of pit road. Those cars were still able to make some contact, and you see it there. That nose looking pretty crinkled up there on that 33.
Coming out of the pits, Austin Reedy is the leader currently, but I don't think he's going to be for much longer. Adrian Schumacher coming through the field here in a hurry, being pushed by Josh Ubalia. It's got Jacob Manning and Josh Susi right behind him, but they mixed up the field quite a bit here on this round of pit stops, and that tends to happen here in super speedways. You got to nail it, otherwise you can lose this field in a hurry.
Yeah, that broke up a lot of teams there, and not the smoothest pit stops from everyone. You saw a lot of people locking up, a lot of people in the grass getting turned, a lot of chaos on pit road. Super speedways are notorious for that.
One thing I'm keeping an eye on is the 51 of Seth Reed went from race leader up there the entire way through, now sitting in 13th place, and while that seems like a bad thing, he's still kind of in this lead pack there. He's right at that tail end, that group of 3 that's kind of still hanging on to that group of 10. But to me, that's actually a benefit to him right now if this thing stays green the rest of the way, because they came in first. I'm not too sure if him leading was going to let him go the last 31 laps on that tank of fuel. So him actually kind of traveling back a little bit, saving a little bit of fuel in that draft, might actually be a benefit to get him the rest of the way.
Well, we are going to step aside real quick after that round of green flag pit stops, run a quick commercial break, and come right back with this great action here in the Silverback Series. Don't go anywhere.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktx.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
All right, you guys didn't miss any of the action here, as they are still green and still shaking up the standings. Adrian Schumacher led after that round of pit stops, but Josh Marcy with a big push from Seth Reed, who led pretty much the whole first half of the race, it felt like. He's trying to make his way back up to the front. That round of pit stops shook it all up, but still a huge pack out front.
I was talking about Seth dropping back and getting the benefit of being able to save some fuel, and he still technically is second in line, but I don't think he's really thinking about that. He's wanting to move up towards the front because he went from 13th to 4th during that commercial break.
Yeah, and I mean, he is saving a little bit of fuel right now, being behind someone. So, and they did make it, around 30 laps. So, I think he can make it to the end.
On board here, Kyle Benson now leading that outside lane. That Hooters throwback looking fast. He might be able to get up there. He's got a few takers so far. Needs probably more help, but he's got his teammate there, Tyler Murray, in the 16. Austin Reedy just behind them now, too, in that 96. So, 3-car MRMS pack there in the high line, feeling pretty good. Let's see if they can clear these guys. That is something we've yet to see, especially when Daniel Bowler, Murray in the wall there.
I was just about to say that high line. You mentioned the 3 Murray Reedy cars. You also got Cody Neal and Lucas Lyons, 2 teammates, and all 5 of them pretty aggressive pushers out here in these super speedway style races. Oh man, that 16 just staying so loose. I don't know how he just saved that, but everybody in the field going to be thanking him for that one.
I'm not too sure. I don't know if he just didn't take tires on that pit stop. That is a possibility.
Yeah.
At these super speedway races, you don't take tires and you're on the high side coming out of the corner. It just gets super loose on you.
That's going to make people think twice about maybe teaming up with them after seeing that. And that's exactly what you're seeing now. That third line has just disappeared just like that. And Kyle Benson is going to get in behind the 55, but Justin Rideout having a solid night. 5th place in that 55. We'll see if any other guys decide to maybe lead that charge there on the outside lane. Looking like Rideout's thinking about it.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting choice because he's in an odd spot right now.
Oh, wow, I can't believe he just saved that.
I think Seth Reed was going down to get clear, and Emerson thought he might be clear too, and got in contact with 35 Marcy there, and and luckily they didn't cause a caution. That could have been bad for sure.
That had all the telltale signs of one of those field wipeout moments there with him out in front. And, you clip the apron like that, you lose it. You mentioned earlier, if you kind of wreck from the top, you're going to slide down. If you wreck from the bottom like that a lot of the times, you kick straight back up that racetrack. So that was about to be a massive one, and a great job by Josh Marcy bringing that one back in.
Yeah, it might not have looked like a lot at home, but to us, that was a pucker moment for sure. Because you're exactly right. That's one of those situations where it just shoots you right back up. But you would think that would calm things down. Nope. Kyle Benson now leads that charge down the outside lane, leading those 2 Highline Racing drivers there. The 47 of Cody Neal, the 48 of Lucas Lyons here. Needs a little more help. They're not fully hooked up here. You got to be really close to the bumpers like you're seeing there in the middle and inside lanes. But they're getting it going here. Maybe a Dalton McKenney there further on back, maybe thinking about it now.
And you mentioned the high line, but how about the other 2 lines? Seeing some new cars leading these things. You got Justin Rideout now out in front in the middle line. Emerson Ardon now leading not just the low line, but leading the entire race now on that inside line. We got some lap traffic coming up here pretty soon as they're going 3 wide. That's always a little dicey moment there when you see that coming.
There we go. They're going 3 wide. Looks like they're going to try to funnel back into 2 wide here. But, man, I thought Kyle Benson was going to have that outside line surging again. But, yeah, Emerson Ardon, he went from wanting to be clear and them almost wrecking to going to the lead. And, now we got a new leader, Justin Rideout, out in the lead here. So, a lot of things can happen in a couple laps.
Feel like we're about to get to that musical chairs portion of things, too, because now you got Austin Reedy leading that middle line. And he might try to kind of get back out in front and maybe take that inside line. It just feels like we're in that portion of the race where everybody starts trading that lead and trying to get control on the inside.
mentioned things changing quickly in a few laps. I mean, it wasn't too long ago we just saw Nathan De La Rosa leading this race, and now a lap down, sitting 32nd. That's just how a bad pit stop can treat you if you mess it up a little bit. We saw a few guys there in the grass, and I think those guys that we saw in the grass are currently a lap down. De La Rosa and Bowden, both 32nd and 33rd.
Yeah, you exit pit road like that, accidentally you get a couple tires out there. That could happen. You get an unsafe pit exit, you got to come back in and serve a penalty.
And I do believe I did see Bowdler on pit road when the next lap of cars came in, so he definitely did look like he got a penalty there. But another thing I'm kind of looking at here is that second pack. It's hard not to look at this lead one, but some big names in the points race all sitting in the second pack right now. You got a Bo Tiffany, a Jonathan Byer, Josh Siegfried, Logan Truitt, who's sitting in 10th in points. He's in the second pack right now. So we got a lot of guys that if this thing stays green and that big wreck and that lead pack doesn't happen, they're off to a really big hit when it comes to the point standings with just 2 races left in the regular season.
Yeah, so a lot to consider. I always like to tell people it's pretty much just a mental chess match when you come to these super speedways, and you got to stick to your strategy. And some of these guys, opting to run further on and back, and they lose that pack. It hurts you when these things stay green. Exactly what we're seeing so far with 18 to go, just ticking off one at a time, just like that here, as they come back to the stripe side by side, led by Justin Rideout. But you saw Emerson a little bit loose through that dog-leg portion of the front straightaway, and that's something that people don't really typically see at home either. Very sketchy part of the track.
Yeah, the tri-oval is it is really loose sometimes, especially they've got almost 15 laps on these tires, and exiting corners on the high side, going through the tri-oval can get pretty sketchy out there. And like you're saying, people at home really don't see it. I'm sure some of these guys are in those cars working that wheel back and forth through these corners and through the tri-oval.
Yeah, and it's just so much flatter on that tri-oval portion, and you start, carrying the same speed, if not more speed, than you are through the turns. And this is the other part of the equation. You just can't see when you got somebody in front of you. And so you get into that tri-oval, the slightest bit of contact, you think it's bad in the higher bank turns. That tri-oval, as flat as it is, a little bit of contact, so much easier to lift the tires up and really lighten up that car and get it turned around. And if you're the second car in line or farther back than that, you just don't know where that thing's coming up sometimes. You're kind of going by your senses, and that little bit of contact at the wrong point, this is a good point for contact, but at the wrong point is very easy to turn somebody around.
And you can see Emerson peeking, trying to see that turn. And, I mean, yeah, you should know where the turn is, but you can't see it. You can't just guess, so you got to find some way, somehow, to pick a spot on the track or just try and get a little bit of a perspective, and that's exactly what you're seeing. You're also trying to see him get a little bit of air on the nose too of that 57 with how hard he is pushing right now, just kind of riding right here, but still got to mind that water temperature right as we come back out here, right back on the bump of that 55.
Yeah, we're going 3 wide again here. It looks like the guys are wanting to get some positions. We're within 15 to go, and it's go time. Go faster. We got to get up there to the front.
I did not expect to see a 2-car tandem be as powerful as it was up there on that high line, but Cody Neal and Lucas Lyons, they were sitting around 10th or so about 5 or 6 rows back, and I saw Cody a couple times kind of showing his hand and seeing if anybody was going to go with him, and it looks like this time he got a teammate, and he's also got Kyle Benson now, who hasn't been shy about that high line either. He's now moved his way up, and that thing might have some juice here if they can get a couple more cars.
Pretty consistent up there up top, but now led by that 47, trying to lead a lap here this time. Don't think he's going to get to it. That's going to be led by the 55 of Justin Rideout, but it is anybody's race at this point. Timothy pointing out it's go time. Wow, really tight. You don't want to see too much pushing there through the turns, but right now nobody wanting to give up anything, and they are trying to get everything with how hard they are pushing. So Seth Reed jumps out to the front, but unable to clear either lane here. Still 3 wide heading into turn 3. Oh, there it goes. Marcy and Murray.
There it is.
And we saw him get so loose early on. I think that's exactly what happened there. He got into the right side of Josh Marcy, and I'm not sure how this was that small of an incident. That had all the makings of a 10-12 car wreck, and it looks like only 4 or 5 getting caught up in this one.
let's go ahead and queue up the admin box rec replay here. See if I can
Yeah, most of
find
those
it.
guys did a good job of avoiding that.
So we're going to watch it from the blimp cam. We saw it live, but we're going to check it out again. See exactly what happened. Murray just gets a little loose in the middle there, comes down into the 35, and everything else is, a result of what happened after there. Adrian Schumacher gets a little bit of damage. Not sure if that's going to be actually the case on his car. That was a light touch there for the 85, but actually you're right, Brandon. Just kind of crazy to think how little that incident ended up being with just a few cars involved.
Yeah, if that thing's a couple rows farther up, or even in that second row instead of the third row, I think we're talking about a whole different story here. I'm kind of wanting to watch. I think that was the 8 car, Jeffrey Radke, maybe after this view, seeing how barely he made it through this thing. But, yeah, we talked about it earlier. That 16 got real loose early on after that pit stop, and clearly that's just what it looked like happening there again, and nothing that Josh Marcy could do, and not terrible damage, but it's going to be enough to really limit him the rest of the way.
It looks like, too, Logan Joyner in the 9, he did a really good job getting the apron and getting past that. He was a few inches away from getting hit as well.
So here's Radke, and watch this car just fly right up, and that was inches away from hitting that left rear. As Tyler Murray, we always say what goes up must come down. Here at Super Speedways, sometimes what goes down must come up, and that 16 car nearly just had a heavy impact to that 8. I have no idea how he got through that one. That was by inches.
Wow.
All right, fractions of an inch.
Oh, man, that is, you know what? You're feeling pretty lucky after that one, because I think in his head he thought he was done, and probably thinking the same exact thing here as you see some birds caught on our camera. I have never seen that, but that is pretty funny, I'm not going to lie.
I wanted to be in the action, too.
Well, man, that was, a great driving by a lot of guys there. Unfortunately, going to hurt the night there for the 16 of Tyler Murray. He was having a great run up towards the front as well. But we'll see if he can get it fixed up out here and maybe keep pushing. We see Adrian Schumacher, he's got a lot of time spent, so maybe he did suffer a little more than we maybe anticipated, already up to about 50 seconds as he pulls off here. So some damage dealt, but still a lot of contenders here in this one.
And a lot more than there were a little bit ago, too, because we were looking at the top 19 in that lead pack all the way down to Max Service at that point. Now there's 11 more drivers that are moving into the picture that were kind of setting back, and they were probably getting a little bit worried that strategy of sitting back wasn't going to pan out for them, but it has just opened up a huge opportunity because now everybody right back in the running.
Well,
yeah, we're going to have about 10 to go here on this restart. And like I said before, it's go time. These guys are going to go 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide to try to get to the front here quickly, especially those guys in the back.
Well, I want to bring somebody up to the booth while we have some time. I want to bring our leader up to the booth and talk to Justin Wright. I'll pick his brain a little bit and ask why he's whooping up on these boys here running as an independent in this Square D55. Justin, you having fun out here tonight, leading the way here so far with 12 to go. All right, well, Justin, I cannot hear you, so I'm assuming you might be
I think
muted.
he's talking in game chat.
Yeah, he's in the driver chat, actually, Justin.
Oh, here you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun running up here, especially not running for points. And, trying to stay out of everybody's way, though, because I don't want to be cause of the problem up here with everybody racing for points. So, having a lot of fun.
Brandon, you got anything? Timothy?
Yeah, I mean, hey, you kind of talk about it where there's just no points and everything. Obviously, you got your teammates there with the JW guys out there. So kind of, I know we're getting to 1 to go, so I'll make this one quick. What's kind of the thought here? Is it helping out those guys, or is it just going for it and seeing if you can capture the checkers here?
Nah, they got 5 other guys that can help with there. So I'm not going to try to manipulate anything. I'm just going to run my own race and see where I end up.
All right, buddy. Well, we'll send you back down to the voice channel you were in. Best of luck, man. Hopefully we're talking to you here in 10 laps. Take care.
Good, thanks,
Good luck, buddy.
All right, we just wanted to talk to Justin for a little bit while we vamp and get this thing back underway. One caution here tonight, and going to have 10 laps to sort this thing out. No way of knowing who's going to win this thing after 10 laps.
No, when I went with my pick, which I'm going to blame the computer-generated list thing on the curse this time, but I might as well do it again at this point because this is 30 cars all with a shot right now, and you look at that 51, he's been up there a lot of the night, but there's a lot of guys that have shown some speed here.
I feel like I cheated a little bit by picking him, but yeah, he's still in the lead here, and not a lot of JW guys around him right now, so it's going to be tough to maintain that lead.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on that guy that got real lucky last time, Jeff Radke. Lurking, maybe trying to get back-to-back wins. You get one, that monkey gets off your back kind of, and you can maybe tear off a few, looking to maybe make that the case here tonight, sitting back there in ninth and, counting his blessings after that. Barely escaping the 16 machine after that first caution of the night. But iRacing pace car lights are off. This is a little bit different than most tracks, a little bit more time to pace around. And we've seen some people get busted here for speeding after the pace car goes off. Got to maintain that speed coming to the Geico restart zone.
Yeah, you got to hope it doesn't catch anybody here because this is the first restart of the night. So this is just going to be something that they haven't felt for a while. You kind of lose that little bit of muscle memory. Hopefully everybody keeps this one in check and we don't have any of those penalties pop up here again.
We'll see if anyone spins their tires here. They haven't pit in a while for tires, so that might be a factor too.
Coming to the Geico restart zone, that's Silverback Tax Solutions, green flag waving here. The second time here tonight for the Talladega 160. Got 10 laps to sort this thing out.
Some big gaps here between first and that second row, and then also from the third car in that inside line back to the fourth. There's going to be some monster runs coming here on this backstretch.
Love these still shots here. You get a real good sense of speed. These guys are passing by, and like you said, they're going to have some big runs coming down the backstretch here. You're already starting to see some guys in the back pack. They're going 3 wide. We got the guys in the front pack going 3 wide now, and they're turn 3.
McKinney and the guy that just got the second lease on life there, Jeff Radke, he barely squeezed through. He's playing with some house cash now, and he's starting to shove that 64 up towards the front.
Right out, maintaining the lead, though, with his JW partner just behind him. Seth Reed pushing that 55 machine. But right now, Lucas Lyons, Cody Neal really linked up well here with the 50 of Jacob Manning pushing in that middle lane. But here comes the 64 in the 8. Just like that, the 2-car tandem making a comeback, like you said here earlier.
Yeah, what a run. These guys on the outside, they got a little bit of draft, and you get that little bit of draft and you're a little bit far back, you can get that run on the outside, and it looks like that's what they're going to do. I'm not sure if they're going to get lined up with those guys on the bottom 2 rows, but they'll get pretty close here as we go into turn 3.
And I just can almost hear Dalton and Jeff up there on that high line just begging somebody to join them. There they go. Kyle Benson going to be the first one there. A couple JW cars as well joining that high line.
Oh, Kyle Benson went up there. Looked like he got loose, came back down to the middle, but still going to have the JW cars up there on the outside lane too if they do opt to stay. That's Nick Halda making a great run here. My buddy up here in the booth, currently running 14th. That's the blue 54. He's going to join that high line here, but Jacob Manning going to lead that outside lane now. Dalton McKinney going to try and push him to the front.
And Jacob Manning did a good job there of picking when to go up top and got him to lead in the top line there. We'll see what they can do on the backstretch. Looks like they might get a pretty good run and get even with these guys.
And this is just wild. And if you're Cody Neal, you're kind of in this weird moment because he had the edge up there. He might have been able to clear that 55 cut down to the inside, but he's got his teammate right behind him. That inside line's been working so well, but you can't really leave your drafting partner there in the dust either.
That's an old Top Gun reference. Don't leave your wingman. Don't ever leave your wingman, right, Brandon? And that's going to get you to the front, and that's what we're seeing here. The teammates sticking together, and the other teamates trying to get up there. Yeah, you said they could do it. They know it.
Yep, they're it's go time. 7 to go here. Oh,
Haldo
man, these guys.
Better of it.
Woo! Man, these guys are getting crazy.
And we were thinking 5 to go, maybe a little bit later than that. We got 7 to go, and right out getting a shove, and he nearly goes around 4 wide as Lucas Lyons tried to move up to the high line, and he does it.
The 50 really cutting him some slack there, Manning. He just knows that would really end his night if he stays in it there, lets him out there. And now we got 2 Highline racing cars out of 3 up here on the front row, led by Cody Neal out of turn 4. 6 laps to go, coming to the stripe. No saying who's going to get it at this point.
No, but there's a couple of where did they come from guys all of a sudden. You see Logan Joyner in the mix, Craig Lautenslager, Cole Martin, 3 guys in that middle line, third, fourth, and fifth row of it. We haven't mentioned them much at all tonight, and here they are right in the picture at the end of this thing.
Yeah, you see Cole Martin, Logan Joyner. Those 2 were guys that were hanging out in the back, and they did a good job at avoiding the wrecks, and now they're up here at the front with 6 to go. It looks like there's going to be a good strategy.
4 wide. Kyle Benson's trying to squeeze it. It's not going to work.
No. How?
Wow.
Oh, no.
Nope. Yeah, we got guys rolling. Yeah, whew, that's a mess. That's a
That was
lot.
nearly the save of the season, but we were asking a lot for that one to get saved going into 3. They nearly pulled it off, but this is going to be a huge one. Saw Seth Reed go upside down, Logan Joyner upside down. There's a good 10-12 cars caught up in this one.
Let's cue up that admin box rec replay here. We saw it live, but we got a lot to unpack after that one. That's the definition of the big one right there.
Man, that kind of had flashbacks to, 2014, 2015 when Tony Stewart went up and over at Talladega and just kind of won on the apron, and they all just packed up onto that high line. Just could not save that thing. Emerson Ardon tried his best, Seth Reed too, but they just, once they kind of went down onto that apron, just couldn't hang on to that speed, keep it straight, and they just went right back up the racetrack.
Not sure if the 48 might have come down a little bit there to get that started. I was looking at the entrance to turn 3. I don't know if he got a push, got him loose, or if he just barely turned the wheel down. Looks like that might have started the whole thing.
And the scary thing with 4 wide too is you just have so little space, and it's so easy for the air. And yeah, you kind of see that. I'm not sure if he came down or if those cars kind of sucked together a little bit. And that's kind of the scary thing going 4 wide here. As close as you are, the aero just kind of pulls these cars together sometimes. Might have gotten a shove there from the 52 as well.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Not as much in the Xfinity series, but in the Cup Series cars, that side draft just sucks your car towards the other one. A little bit of net code, a little bit of a push, a little bit of this and that. A lot of factors went into that. Looks like it was a racing deal.
Yeah, that's net code for sure, I would say, but who knows what was going to happen by the time they actually did make it to turn 3. But unfortunately, that is a big one for a lot of guys here tonight, and that's a heavy hit for a lot of these guys too, especially Logan Joyner, who is inside that top 15, but right now cannot feel safe after a tough night here tonight.
No, and that's pretty much a perfect example of what we talked about pre-race, where you got those guys that were 8th to 13th in points, where they felt pretty clear by 20 to 40 points. Logan right in that group, 24 points clear, and he's going to lose a big chunk of that now in this one.
So still
never a good thing whenever you're close to that cut line and you have a bad race right near the end of the season. That's a pretty big blow.
I can definitely tell you that a whole lot more than I think you normally running up there in the top of the standings by, but it's definitely a terrifying feeling when you know that you got that one track or one bad result coming and you just kind of feel helpless there, that's for sure.
So busy pit road right now. Josh Marcy, Emerson Ardon, Cody Neal, Cole Martin, Logan Joyner, as well as Nick Halda, who we saw charging towards the front, Seth Reed, also on pit road too, back in 31st position, and Craig Lautenslager. So we've got a very busy pit road. As you see Josh Marcy, he's going to come on down and maintain his position here on the lead lap, but a lot of these guys here might not have that option with required repairs, so they might go a lap down here before too long.
And I tell you who else is going to be on pins and needles right now, and I think that's going to be the 48 of Lucas Lyons and the 50 of Jacob Manning, because we do have that EOL penalty for a caused caution. In my opinion, that's a racing incident, but the 48 does come down a little bit. The 50 does look like he gets into the 48 a little bit. There's an outside chance they might get called for a caused caution and drop back out of the top 3 into the back of this pack.
And that'd be a pretty big blow to their chances at winning this race too. We're gonna go back green. Looks like be 3 to go next time. I'm not sure if they'll get the 1 to go this time, but should be a natural green-white checkered here.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like for sure, natural. So we'll still have 3 possible overtimes here if we do get the 1 to go this time, which it looks like we will.
see the flag in the air, signaling one to go. You see everybody doubling up, and man, Justin Rideout trying to get a win here this season. His first win at Speed Racing Network. Just running as an independent, and that would be a pretty big upset. No reason he can't get it done with the boys he races with over there in the JW Racing stable. So we'll see if he can hang on here for 2 laps, but gonna be hard to do that with Lucas Lyons, Dalton McKinney lining up there on the outside lane, Michael Larchie, even Jackson Wade. You pretty much look at that outside lane, that would be all first-time winners.
Yeah, I was just looking at the top 11. I believe we got 7 drivers that have yet to win an SRN, all in contention here inside the top 11. So this is wide open. The number of possible first-time winners far outnumbering the potential for some of these guys that already have a win in their account.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, once you get that first win and get that monkey off your back, it gets a lot easier to get another one. That's for you get a win, you feel confident, you go out there, you drive harder, and just like you said, gets that monkey off your back.
Going through the field real quick, your top 10, Justin Rideout, Lucas Lyons, Jacob Manning, Dalton McKinney, Jeff Radke, that's your top 5 currently. Then you got Michael Large, Kyle Benson, Jackson Wade, Austin Reedy, as well as Joshua Balliet. So a lot of comers and goers, like we've been saying. Jackson Wade, haven't seen him this whole race. He's back here in 8th, could potentially get his first win. One of those drivers you were mentioning here in the top 10, and I am not counting out anybody further on back too. I mean, you got Susie back there in 14th. He was running up towards the front. It's all going to be who decides to take it 3 wide and lead that outside lane. Who's it going to be, Brandon? Who do you think takes that chance here early on?
Oh, man, and I think the first one, I'm looking at who might be aggressive, but where teammates are, and everybody's kind of scattered team-wise. This might be a tough one because I don't think anybody's going to be the first one to bite and risk losing all that ground, and they really don't have any teammates. I'm kind of looking at Adrian Schumacher and Joshua Balliet back there. They might take a shot just because they're the only ones really linked up with a teammate.
Who are you looking at, Timothy?
The only guys I see lined up here or that are close together is the JW Racing guys, but I still don't think they're gonna try to get together with 2 to go. Here's the Silverback Tax Solutions green flag comes out. I think at this point I might have to go with their leader Justin Rideout. He looks like he's doing a pretty good job of staying up front.
Watch it from the coming through turn 1 to see them nose to tail, but nobody really opting to go 3 wide yet, thinking we might see that maybe on the exit of 4. We'll see, though, because Max Service, he's going to need a big tow here. Michael Larch really putting a gap between them. But now you see Balliet and Reedy hop up top, and Radke trying to do that, but Balliet not letting him in here. Getting real tight here.
Trouble
Eric.
on the back.
Ooh, yeah.
Got Josh Siegfried in the 60 turned around on the back straightaway, and he was running around that 15th, 16th position, so it looks like just maybe kind of fighting for space out there, got turned around, and honestly, with some of the things we've seen that didn't bring out a caution earlier this season, a little surprised we got a caution for a single-car spin.
I was going to say, before the caution came out, it looked like Dalton McKinney. I don't know if he went up and gave the inside a little bit of a lane there, but they took him 3 wide and got around him. Ooh.
A little more than a single-car spin.
Yeah, I think he had a little bit of help there.
Yeah, so that's all it takes to bring out the 3rd caution of the night. Pretty clean for the most part there early on, but that's going to give us another opportunity to step aside and come right back with the finish of the Talladega 160. Don't go anywhere.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktx.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Back out here at the Silverback Tax Series race here in Talladega for the Talladega 160. Hit that like button if you love what you're seeing. We've had some great racing so far tonight, boys. Brandon and Timothy joining me in the booth here, and it's been a good one. We had a pretty green early on, but lately we're not seeing the same. 3 cautions, and in just a matter of time.
It's almost like we saw that coming when the racing got even more aggressive than the aggressive start that we saw those first 20 laps. But yeah, we started seeing that 4 wide, and I think at one point we even saw a little bit of a peak at 5 wide in the backstretch. But yeah, it's been interesting. One thing I'm noticing though, you noticing how many cars are starting to drop down to the apron in the turns and kind of riding on the flat, thinking about that fuel mileage as we get into these overtimes. That's something to keep in mind here.
Yeah, because we had a natural green-white checkered, and now we got a couple extra laps added to it. So, yeah, those guys are definitely thinking about saving some fuel here. I know especially the guys that came in on lap 30 that stayed out one of the last couple of cautions. I'm sure they're really hurting for some fuel.
Yeah, one of them is Jacob Manning. We've seen him running down there, pitted on lap 29 along with his teammates Michael Larch, but Josh Susi and all his other teammates opting to come down, and there's only a few, like we said, Ride-Out Lions, Manning, Larch, and McKenney all pitting around the same time, along with Balliet. But for the most part, everybody else opting to come down pit road here to get that extra splash of fuel to get them to the end just in case, because they know that cautions breed cautions, especially at super speedways. So we'll see how it works out. If we do maybe get another caution here, that could spell trouble for a lot of the guys in the field here up front.
And a little more on it, there's only 3 drivers inside the top 10 that have come down since that lap 29 to 31 pit sequence that we saw. Jackson Wade, Austin Reedy, Max Service, they all came down on lap number 48, so they're going to be good to go. Everybody else is just hoping that this is the last restart we get.
And we're going to see some more of that crazy racing again. I just know it. We're going to have some 4 wide, maybe even some 5 wide. I feel like in the tribal, we could probably have 6 wide as it is.
Oh, don't say that, because
that's going to be challenge accepted by somebody now.
Why would you put that out there in existence? Because now we're going to see full sendies from everybody, Timothy.
Hey, I'm a racer. You know this. If there's a chance that I can get the lead on the 6th line up top, I'm going for it.
It's a whole lot easier to say it while we're up here. So it's, now we can kind of say, like, hey, let's see it. I want to see if they pull that off because we're not down there. So, hey, full game. Have fun.
You see Jacob Manning down there trying to save what he can. Probably going to see him flip the switch off a little more here. Might be concerning for the 50, but he's probably just going to mainly focus on pushing the old captain in the JW stable in the 55 just in front of him, Justin Wright out there, trying to score his first win here in SRN. We'll see if this is the last restart of the night coming back to that Geico restart zone. We're going to see the Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waving here for the 4th time here tonight.
We thought for a moment that Jacob Manning was actually going to ditch Justin Wright out there a little bit and cut down to the inside. Wright out dropping back down, making sure that doesn't happen. And they're all going to get pretty well lined up here. That's a little bit surprising.
Yeah, you thought they'd stay too wide for a little bit longer, but looks like top 5 cars are single wide here. Oh, and we're going to the outside there. Looks like Lucas Lyons.
Yeah, we knew Lucas Lyons wouldn't last for long there on the inside lane. He wants to score his first win, getting pushed out to the front here by Dalton McKinney in the 64. Michael Larch, third car on the outside. And then last week's winner, Jeff Radke, sitting there in 7th, 4th on the outside lane. It's going to be a drag race coming out of turn number 4. Will we see the white flag waving here?
A whole lot of guys hoping they do with this fuel mileage situation. They got about 1,000 feet to get there. This is where the line should be. Still waiting for it, though.
There it is. White flag out here from the Talladega 160. Coming back to the stripe. Ooh, we got a crash here. Austin Reedy. We're going to stay with this lead pack, though.
So we've seen 4 wide wreck twice. Let's see if they go for it again. And Radke trying to get shoved down to the middle. This is going to get wild here in 3 and 4.
Big block there by Lyons. Puts Radke into the wall. That's going to kill all the momentum there on the outside lane. The 48 is going to be a lame duck, and it's going to be really down to the 55, the 50, and the 7. Got to watch out for Balliet here.
7's going to get a little bit of a run here. He's going to have that outside line. Can he do it by himself, though?
No, Manning goes up to block here. They're going to go 3 wide, going through the tri-oval. It's going to be a 3 wide drag race to the stripe. 4 wide. And it's going to go to Balliet with a hell of a finish right there.
Less than 100th of a second. Wow.
Honestly, we have it as Balliet on our pylon. iRacing has it as Lucas Lyons by .000.
One of these again here.
Another tie. Wow.
We have a tie again. Unbelievable.
Well, there's only one way to find out, and we are going to go back and figure that out live here. We are going to cycle through.
Now, I did
keep in mind
see Lucas Lyons. He might have went below the other 2 to get that pass.
Now the question's going to be, did he get forced below by the action, or did he take himself down there? So this all might be moot, and
a little bit below. Well, I mean,
I got to tell you, I don't think he puts all 4 by himself below that line.
I think Netcode with the 55 kind of shoved him down there a little bit.
Let me go back a little bit. Oh, Jesus Christ, that was very. Oh my God, it's so fast. Hold on, we're going to get this figured out here. Just give me a second. Live edited.
I can't tell. I'm looking at it myself. I can't tell.
All right, we're going to do this. We're going to bring this up here so I can go frame by frame. Man, that is very close.
If we could go half a frame back, maybe.
Hold on. I could. This is going to be
earlier.
live.
Earlier, I said the old DW line of Jeff Radke avoided it by an inch and then fractions of an inch. This is fractions of a fraction of an inch going across the line.
Yeah, it is. That is hard to tell, boys. But if I'm looking at it, I'm seeing the 48 just barely.
I'm looking at
here.
the checkered pattern. I still can't tell.
This
is close.
This may be a legitimate tie. And honestly, right now, I'm looking at the live view on my camera. Lucas Lyons is sitting there, but he ain't celebrating yet. I think he's kind of waiting to see, A, if he is going to get called for going below the line, and B, if he's actually the winner of this race.
I have no idea. That is just, you can't, it's hard to say one over the other right now. I've never seen anything like it. We've seen these close finishes in the past, but you can usually see one ahead of the other.
And I tell you what, the thing that gave Lucas Lyons the chance, Jacob Manning kind of leaving the 55 of Justin Wright out to make that move, trying to cut off Joshua Balliet, and then Balliet going up there, that led to that 3 wide and just stacked up that air just enough to give a big pull to that 48. So we kind of were keeping that eye on the 7, thinking he was in the perfect spot, but really how it played out, the 48, obviously getting that monster run there, and we're still waiting to see what the official call is on this.
Yeah, I hate to move on with the broadcast and go to interviews without actually knowing who the actual winner is here, because this is
And to pull back the curtain a little bit, I do see Lucas Lyons in the admin office right now. So there, I would imagine that they're talking about, if he went below the yellow line, if he was forced, they're probably trying to get his angle of things while he's still in there to kind of see what the intent was versus if there was any contact or net code that kind of forced him down. In my opinion, he only put 2 tires below that line or even on that line, and then there was a little contact or net code there that sent him the rest of the way. I don't think he puts himself all 4 tires below that yellow line.
Yeah, we'll go back and watch it one more time here, coming to the stripe. Bringing that up here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, he might have had 2 tires on that line, maybe a little low, but the contact is the net code contact is really what sent him down there.
And I might be wrong, but last I knew the rule is you cannot put all 4 tires down below the line. He doesn't until that little contact. But man, that's close because you could see him already kind of making his way below that line. I don't know. I don't envy the admins having to make that call because it could go either way.
Well, we have a decision, and the winner is going to be Joshua Balliet. Lucas receiving the black flag there for putting 4 tires below the yellow line. That decision coming from Sean Griffith himself. So we have a finishing order and a winner here tonight, and that was just still, regardless, an unbelievable finish, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. So unfortunately, Lucas Lyons will be wiped from that number 1 spot. Balliet going to come away with the win here. Jacob Manning in third. He's going to be second. Rideout going to round out the podium position here. Bowdler and Larch, that's going to be your top 5.
And then we'll have Jeffrey Radke will finish officially in 6th. Jackson Wade will take 7th. Tyler Markle in 8th. Dalton McKenney and Josh Susi will round out the top 10.
You got Truitt, Logan Truitt there. He's going to be 11th here tonight. Cole Martin's in 12th. Cody Neal 13th. Josh Siegfried, he comes back up to 14th with Tyler Murray rounding out the top 15. Corey Stahl, he's going to be 16th. Nathan De La Rosa in 17th. Josh Marcy in 18th. Adrian Schumacher 19th with Max Service. That is going to be your top 20. So let's go ahead, track down Justin Rideout here tonight. Not even sure he knows he came home in third after that wild one, so he's in here with his JW boys. We're going to bring him on up here to the booth. Justin, it's Greg Olenek, Brandon Domain, and Timothy Latham. Yeah, kind of probably surprised we're bringing you up here, but Lucas receiving the black flag there for passing below the yellow. That's going to put him out of the win here tonight. You're in third after this race here tonight. Tell us about that finish. That was a wild one.
Yeah, that was wild. Actually, I didn't see where those guys came from. I thought me and Jacob would come out of the corner being side by side, and I had no clue that Lyons and whoever on the outside was. I'm like, and I wasn't going to try to block anybody. I didn't want to mess up anybody's points, running for points. So I was just going to hold my line and finish where I finished. But yeah, it was a big surprise. I thought it'd be me and Jacob going to the line, but unfortunately, there's 4 people. So it was a good race. It was fun.
I mean, it looked like an absolute blast up here in the booth watching that one, and just how crazy that was, even from the very start of that race. But I'm kind of thinking a little bit bigger picture. You come down to the Silverback Tax Series for a couple starts here lately. What's that going to do for you on the Cup side, getting a little bit of confidence going, or just even the little extra seat time?
A little extra seat time always helps, but those cars are so different, and it doesn't really translate to anything. There's certain races I like to race, and this is being one of them. Last week was one of them. And so it'll probably be it for the rest of the season. But I just come down here to have fun and stay out of people's way. So I appreciate you guys having me down here and getting the race with you guys.
Well, man, before we let you go, you got any friends, any sponsors, any family out there watching you tonight you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Nah, just everybody out here in the Xfinity race. They made it so much fun tonight. The guys on JW Racing. I was racing independent, so I was trying to beat them and, as much as I could, and so I can get back and, have a little fun with the guys. But you guys up in the booth do a great job every week. The admins, the job that they have is difficult, and we appreciate everything y'all do.
Well, we appreciate you saying that, man, and love having you here in the Silverback series and just in season 4 in general, man. Good to have you back out there on the track. So take care. Have fun celebrating with the boys here tonight. Good run for your JW stable, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, so that was Justin Rideout coming home P number 3 here this evening. So I'm going to have to go right back down into his JW Discord and pick up Jacob Manning now. Bring him on up to the broadcast booth. Jacob making me track you down, making me have to work here. Welcome to the booth. You got Greg Olenek, Brandon Domain, and Timothy Latham. What a finish there. And you looked like you were in control in that 50 car all night long. What could you possibly have done different, man, just to edge out them to just battling it all the way to the end there, Lucas Lyons and Justin Rideout?
I mean, it probably would have helped if I was successful at doing what I was trying to do. I wanted to pull out, and Justin didn't think it was the right time. He thought it was a little bit early, actually. He came and talked to me after and said, you know, it was fine and he had no hard feelings. It was just, he thought it was early. But the whole point I was trying to get, I knew Ballier was coming with a run and I really wanted him to hit my back bumper. So it'd like push me forward and halt his run. And then I was going to go get Justin, but I barely missed out on that. He got to my right rear, and there was nothing I could do from there. I'm surprised he made the run work, so that it doesn't really make any sense to me. Usually they stall out up top up there, but he might have side drafted me too. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. He deserved it. Good win to him. I tried to what do you call it, Blaney it at the end and give him a little tap in the door, slow him down maybe, and that didn't quite work out very well. So I tried my best, but third place ain't too bad, or second, whatever it is. I'm not too sure yet.
Either way, you know, you talk about, you know, not being too bad. The big thing, I think, for you at this point, you came in as the points leader, and at an ultimate wild card like this, that second place is what it does look like tonight. Should be good to lock yourself into the playoffs here and extend that points lead as well. So how does that kind of change the next couple of weeks? Is it kind of looking more towards the playoff races, or is it still kind of trying to keep that momentum going these next 2 weeks?
It might sound a little absurd, but I'm not even worried about the playoffs right now. It's just we're 2 weeks away. We're not there yet, so I'm not all too worried yet. I'm still sort of adapting at this point. So week to week, I'm trying to figure out if I can get that speed. I was way off at Charlotte in qualifying. I thought I might have had something for race pace, and then just some unfortunate events happened, and I wasn't able to show how good I was, and I ran into problems at the road course and at the very beginning put me a few laps down, and I wasn't able to come back, even though I felt I really had the speed to compete in the top 5. So I had a few unfortunate weeks, but I'm looking to come back from that and show I still got what it takes, even with the new VR, which is completely different but so much fun. And we'll get at it, but playoffs aren't there yet, so we'll focus on what we still got in front of us.
Well, that is what it's all about, man. Having fun out there. But before we let you go, celebrate with the JW guys here tonight. You got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
No one. Just kidding. I got the usual list. You know what I'm saying? I got Father God for being with me tonight. It was awesome. I didn't feel really stressed at any point. I just kind of did my thing, and it's awesome to be able to feel that way and not be stressed about too much. I mean, I guess I am the points leader, so I have a comfortable cushion, but nonetheless, it's still pretty fun. Mom, Dad watching, Deborah, Don, if you guys are watching, anybody else who supports, the admins, you guys up in the booth making it cool and nice and fun to race every week. It's what sets this league apart from everything else and makes it so cool and fun to do. The sponsors, Cody Williams Designs, for giving me all the schemes this year. Look sweet, look awesome. Glad to go run them every week. JW Racing for making all this possible. Justin Rideout for everything. It doesn't need explanation. Best boss ever. And then man, all the other stuff. Rogue Energy, which you can use code JW Racing for 10% off, by the way. And man, I think that's about it. I think that's the whole list.
All right. Well, we appreciate you stopping by. Heck of a run here tonight, and best of luck when we see you out there next week. Take care, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Y'all too.
All right, so that was Jacob Manning coming home P number 2 here. Waiting on final word, of course, but we know the final word. He's second here tonight. Joshua Balliet tracking him down, seeing if I can find him in his team Discord. There he is. We'll bring him on up to the booth and pick his brain a little bit. Joshua, welcome to the SRN broadcast booth. Had to wait a little bit to get some official word, but now you're up here with myself, Brandon Domain, and Timothy Latham as tonight's winner here of the Talladega 160. Tell us about that finish here. And man, that was a wild race for the 60 laps here tonight.
Oh, that was a lot of fun racing. We were 3 wide basically the whole race. I just don't know how I pulled that off. When I came out of 4, I was pretty content with that third. I had a little bit of a run. I went up high and I was like, there's no way this is a good enough run to win. And then Manning went up the block. I think if Manning stayed with Rideout, they would have just won, but he came up and he gave me a shot, and that's all I needed.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was an incredible finish. And when you came off of turn 4, I think we were all kind of sitting there looking like there's enough of a gap here. You might make that run. But another run you're looking at, kind of doing the table math, I think you should be locked in. I'm not going to say that officially, but should be locked in for the playoffs now after this one with a couple weeks left to go. So does that change the mindset the next 2 races or just business as usual for you?
No, it doesn't really change the mindset because the mindset going into the season was win every race you can. So every race, doesn't matter. If I wreck, I wreck. I'm going to win it.
Well, so far that strategy paying off with another win here tonight, man. You've looked really strong here in Season 4. So looking forward to seeing what you guys can do in that 7 camp once we get to the playoffs. Before then, though, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout-out to?
Yep, Hunterton Anesthesia Associates, Healthcare Billing, 213 Simware, Vader Zim Designs, RJ Bishop Design, Bird Arts, and just Ed for spotting for me the whole night. Big help.
Well, you did a great job. Got you the win here tonight. Those spotters go a long way. So congratulations once again. We'll send you on back down to your teammates, and we'll see you next week, bud.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so that was Joshua Balliet coming home P number 1, and man, I still have not completely processed what we just saw. I don't think I've ever seen as close a finish as we just saw there.
No, I mean, we've had a couple of finishes now, I think, that were within a couple thousandths of a second, and we had one earlier this year, I think, that showed up as a tie, basically, but we kind of had the conclusive evidence on the screenshot there. We didn't even have that on this photo finish. It's unfortunate that penalty came out, but I'm kind of curious if it didn't, how that was going to be determined, because I don't even know how we were going to separate that one.
Not sure either. That's probably the closest finish I've ever seen, honestly.
Well, I know I had a great time up here in the booth with you guys. Thanks for joining us here tonight, Timothy. Always fun to have a little bit of extra help when we get to the super speedways. And you're right, you teased a little bit saying, it's going to be a great show. You're in the booth here tonight. You definitely did not disappoint. A great finish here tonight, even though it didn't end up the way Lucas Lyons would have probably liked it to end up, but still, nonetheless, a great show. But next week, they're going to be out in Iowa for the Hawkeye 125, and kind of the theme a little bit for next week across the board in SRN. Next up, Cup Series, you guys are going to Bristol. Brandon, I know how you feel about that. Timothy, how you feeling about Bristol?
Ooh, I feel good on speed. I don't know about avoiding incidents. That's going to be the tough part. It's a very small track. It's like a bowl. Everyone's going around in a bowl with each other, and it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy indeed. So definitely come on back. Stop on by for that one. We'd love to have you. Me and Nick Halda will have the call, as always, for that one. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. Week 11 is in the books. Moving on to Week 12 and ever closer to those playoffs. So for everybody here behind the scenes, myself, Brandon Domain, and Timothy Latham, we wish you guys a good night and go faster.